Hey, welcome back to the SBP Podcast Mobile Filmmaking. I'm your host, Susy Botello, and you are listening to episode 176.
We are Fade into Film. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Joey Min, and welcome to the podcast.
Awesome, Joey. What a great intro. We've just promoted Joey to be the host of the show.
Okay. I will not have the time. I'll be here. I'll definitely.
Just
No, it's good because like today I was like recording like our, I guess like YouTube shit. Like, so I had to do the YouTube personality. So I'm still in that YouTube personality right now. I haven't turned off yet. So you got it.
Yep, we've got it. So
I
Joey,
hate the YouTube personality so much. I hate this part of my job.
Oh my God. Well, that's something cool because we're gonna bring up YouTube with you, Joey. Well, because you're our YouTuber experter.
Yeah, sure.
And then Ryan is our movie trivia expert. Like,
I can take that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. And what he does is he trolls us during these podcast episodes because he'll say, "Oh, director Jimmy Finn, remember? And he made that movie with the cinematographers, Charles Biggins." And we'll be like, "What? Who is that? Who's he talking about?" But it's good to have the diversity in this show. And how are our listeners doing? I hope you guys are doing great. We're like almost 3 months into 2024. And I do want to bring up something really interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. So at the Mobile World Congress, I think it's called, in Barcelona.
Mobile World Congress?
Yeah, in Barcelona. They've had this for like a million years now. And I'm looking for the link just so that I don't lose myself here. But basically what happened was that there is a pink bunny running around Barcelona, the Energizer bunny. Oh. And you're going, okay, where is she going with this? So basically a battery turned into a phone. And so I thought that was really interesting. I heard about this on February 13th, the first time, No Film School. I read an article from them introducing this thing. And I was like, well, this is cool. But of course, so the whole phone is really based around the battery. So it really is. It's like we took a big battery of ours and we turned it into a smartphone. It apparently you can work this phone for like a week without having to charge it. And then it's got this part of it that's been rated, like, how you have an A rating or a B rating and certain things. So apparently there's a rating of some sort for batteries. Mm-hmm. And for phones. Like you guys have talked about this before about how phones sometimes get too hot. So you have to use another one, or too cold in the freezing cold. And so this rating on this thing says pretty much it can handle that stuff. But it's like a brick because it's such a big deal of a battery. And it's an Energizer hard case P28K. So I just wanted to bring that up with people. It supposedly has a really good camera and really good features.
So it's a battery company that went into the phone?
Yeah, the Energizer. The pink bunny Energizer.
Oh, so the Energizer. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that a trip? Now,
that sounds interesting.
It says it doesn't have any high-end apps or anything like that. So I'm guessing as a phone, as a working, by the way, the price is like $250. It's under $300 supposedly. So it's super cheap. So what I'm thinking, though, is for all our listeners who are making films or shooting videos, this is the phone to get just so that you could qualify at our film festival as a second camera. when you need that kind of a battery. And it's a phone. It's literally a phone. So I think it's pretty cool for filmmaking. It's cheap enough that you can get one and say, this is my second camera for my project. Or maybe it's going to be your primary camera that you didn't realize was going to be your primary until you got out to the freaking desert out there in the Mojave or desert somewhere, or out in New Jersey at this time of year because it's cold.
It's right? Fucking cold, yeah.
Yeah. So
is it, I mean, wow, you think that the Nokia could just jump back into the, because those things lasted forever too.
Right. And I think there was another thing. Why is it called? It starts with an X, Xiaomi or something like that.
Xiaomi.
I learned things from Jerry and Ryan. So this other one is going to come to the U.S. And the reason I bring it up is because, but last year, one of the winners won with that phone. She was in Mexico and she won using that phone for her film. And it's not even available here,
wow.
But now it is. It's going, it's coming to the U.S. So, because there's a lot of phone brands in different countries that they're not available here. Whenever someone submits something, I got to check it out. It's like, wait, what is this? You can only imagine. So I just wanted to bring this up so that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that when people are, out there looking and saying, well, I can't just have a phone for everything and qualify. Well, yes, you can. And if you want to buy a second phone, but it is a brick. It's 3 times thicker than the iPhone 15.
That's not that
no,
that's
it's
not
like
thick.
It's not like a really, and I think the screen is like 7 inches or something like that.
It's like a field monitor.
Right.
That's like the only thing I think of.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about some of this other stuff. Do you guys have something that doesn't take too long, since we already took 10 minutes just to talk about this?
Take too long about what?
About the stuff that you're working on. Ryan, what are you working on right now?
Sophie, my daughter Sophia, who I've mentioned many times before, we're working on her next short film right now. We are shooting it with the iPhone 11, and it's called our working title right now. It's called The Sockening. So it'll be a horror comedy that it
involves
scare your socks off.
A sock.
It involves.
I love your ideas, man.
Yeah.
What was my idea?
Ideas? It makes me so fucking happy.
Her idea is it's like she plays a girl who wears her socks so much that they become monsters of their own and attack her.
Nice.
After she's worn in them, sweating on them, things like that. But so she, we took some socks and she hot glued like eyeballs on it, like a whole set of them, and I showed her kind of like different methods of how to because they were white socks, but they were like brand new white, and kind of went through the methods of like using. One idea was like she put them on and because I was like they need to look dirty and worn. She put them on and ran outside into the backyard, and right now all the snow is melted around my house. And so
nice.
She runs around, she comes back, she's like, hey, you remember how you told me you always tell us not to wear our socks outside because they just get dirty? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, that's what I just did in order to get the dirt on the socks. And then we used green tea to like also give them some stains as well.
Oh.
So yeah, that's what we were shooting. We were working on that right before I jumped on this. So.
The green tea socks.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Joey?
Just currently, actually, this week we're in 2 productions, and we're just doing that experimental like horror vertical cinema thing. That's a film noir, action film noir thing, and we had one. It was just kind of this comedy sketch between Steph and I, but then. I guess like the team that we had, they were like, oh, maybe we could shoot these other ideas, since we're here anyways. And we're like, okay. And like 2 projects became like 4, and now I'm dying. Yeah.
But the opportunity comes up and you're like, you know what? You're right, though. I can hurt for a couple days, right? sort of.
I guess it's just like, it's one of those things. I've never done like those 24-hour film challenge type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But
they're 48 hours usually, but I think you could do a 24-hour for a phone with a phone.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you'd be able to.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's what we're doing, and I'm just killing myself, That's just what it is.
You heard it here, guys. Joey's killing himself. Don't kill yourself, Joey. We love you and we need you. Anyways, let's talk about one of these topics that I wanted to bring up. So one of the things I kind of brought this up in episode 174, that there is a little bit of a stigma with some people. If you have friends who are making movies and they're using RE cameras and DSLRs and stuff like that, and you're all hanging out at Starbucks or wherever, and hey, so Dave, what are you doing? And well, I'm making a feature film. Awesome. And I'm going to shoot it with my iPhone, or I'm going to shoot it with my Pixel phone or whatever. There's a little bit of stigma that's still there because you feel like you're saying, hey, professionals, you're building a house, right? And I'm going to make one out of Legos. And they're just going to look at you. You feel like that, right? In a way. So I don't know
anybody that just has an Ari. Like it has to be like a bunch of people have pulled their money together to have one. I just don't know.
I think most cinematographers come with their camera and they invest a lot of good money on their
and
cameras.
They also have a full team in a house that has that. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, if you hire, like some of the films that I've worked in, I worked on one film, and that the cinematographer and I became really good friends. And he had, I don't remember, I think he had a Panasonic, but it could have been an Ari. Anyways, he was a cinematographer and he had more than one camera. And I'm actually thinking now that he just picked that Panasonic because it wasn't, like a larger film, I'll share this with you, whether it's an Ari or not. Maybe they have a Blackmagic camera, right? That's a very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I have an Ari. I mean, like, dude, why are we friends? Like, how is this? What income bracket are you in?
Yeah.
I've got some friends that have RE cameras, and they're friends. There's no hate.
Okay. So, true story then, right? I do know someone that just buys, like, he has like 3 Aris, right?
Oh,
but he's like, so, but the thing is, this guy, he had like a tech company that he sold. So now in his age, he's just like, oh, I just want to film people. He doesn't even make movies. He just wants to film people with his super expensive cameras. That's it. That's all he does. That guy is a complete exception to the rule.
Is he though? Maybe there's someone out there listening who says, well,
like
actually,
he films, like, he helps people film this show that's it's like a, it's a ghost hunter show, and I think they are on some sort of cable TV, and it's like really bad looking. But
some of those shows are really bad looking to begin with, so that they can get away with all those, the ghosts that aren't real sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's funny. I'm like, it's just funny too, because like one of the actresses on there was like one of my oldest friend's like ex-girlfriend. I'm like, what the heck? She became an actress, or it was just weird. Like this whole like, degrees of separation of knowing people is just odd. But that's the only person I know that has like an Ari that he owns for himself.
Yeah.
The other people I know are, like they're like NYU kids that like, they pulled together the money so they could like work. Like,
right. Isn't that weird? Like, right. At the same time, it's like, got to pull in your money. Got to have a lot of money so that we can do this work. Or you can use your iPhone, your Android.
Yeah, right.
And that's where I'm going with this. Is like, would those same people have a little bit of a stigma about that?
I mean, of course. I think so. Like, I think it's also, it's what you're taught in film school, I would,
Mm-hmm.
It's like there is, I mean, in the industry, if you really think about it, it is kind of like there is an order to like a chain of command, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's kind of funny because like there's for this one film that I'm working on, I flew this this stunt actor from Atlanta up here, because we worked on him on Michael Jai Weiss like latest movie, and he's a cool person. But obviously, just asking him, like, this guy that like his he didn't do the whole indie thing. Like, he went straight to like professional, like, working in the industry, and
Right.
and it's just kind of like, hearing what he says about like how things are, like how he prefers, or at least he finds it fun working with us because he's part of like everything. Like, oh
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
that's what happens. I mean, the lighting person, if you're there as, holding part of, with this position, right? You don't go and help the lighting people. You don't make suggestions.
Everything's very stratified. It's stratified.
Yes,
yeah.
it's very, we're each one of them. It's almost like each person is their own department, depending on what they're working on. And they take offense if you don't know that. So I can totally understand your friend finding that really cool, because it's more creative, and all the challenges is like real teamwork. Everybody comes together. It's so awesome.
I think, obviously after a certain budget bracket, I guess, everybody just
Conforms.
well, yeah. I mean, you gotta work for it.
You want to make that big bucks, $50,000 an hour? Sure, man. I'll stay out of that challenging creative stuff. No problem.
I don't know. I think Richard Linklater has a film. I don't know the title. I believe it has Ethan Hawke in it, but they shot it with a DV camera.
Wow.
I
when?
Late 90s, I think.
Oh, okay. That's still
maybe
interesting.
Early 2000s, but and I think it's just set in a hotel. But to my own fault, I don't know the title of it. But I mean, we're sitting here talking about the RE, and I have my my Canon GL2 like DV camera.
I lost
still
mine.
sitting here, and so kind of some of the stories you're telling kind of reminded me. I was one of the, like, I still don't own a DSLR myself. I just, whoever's my cinematographer, as you said, kind of brings the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
because sorry. Yeah,
no,
It's like you're hiring a carpenter. They got to bring their own tools.
Yeah, in a way. And then, but there was times where I would be shooting a short film, and everybody else had moved on to a DSLR, and an actor would be kind of like, "Oh, hey, can we watch playback on that?" And I'd be like, "We can't, because it's tape." So
It's tape.
like, I'm not recording. I'm not rewinding back, so we can do that. But then I actually enjoy that because I find that there's too much wasted time sometimes. Like when you have it digital and everybody wants to watch the playback after every take.
Yeah.
After every take.
Yeah. So
After every take?
I've seen some where people want to see it
dude.
every time, and it's just
sometimes you just gotta say, "Hey, just trust me, dude." Like,
Yeah.
like, please just trust me.
Why did you hire me? You don't like my cooking?
Well, it's not even. It's just after we do like 2 or 3 takes. If I'm the director, I'm like staring over your shoulder. I either saw it or I saw it on the camera itself.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's other times where maybe I'm acting, and so. After we do like 3 takes and they say that's the best one, then I'll watch the best one. But
right.
Other than that, or if there's some, there might be an issue and it's kind of like, no, your hand's in the wrong spot. Like, look, this is what it looks like. But yeah, there's some times where people get kind of like, okay, cool, you want to watch that again? I'm like, no, let's move on. Like, we'll watch this later. And I don't know that I don't do dailies. I kind of do like I do the end of the month kind of a thing.
Oh my god!
So, depending on our time frame,
monthlies,
monthlies, yeah.
Let's just set it
because,
up.
Because I think though, like after, like I think you could do a lot with whatever equipment that's available. Like for most consumers or whatnot, but like I think you could do like really good work up to like, I don't know, like 90. Like 3% or something, right? Mm-hmm. But to get to like the 94th percent, like that extra percent to make it like much more film, it costs like, so much money that it's not worth it.
It's like another 90% as far as
Like I think people could do so much with normal stuff, right?
Yeah.
I've experienced people with some pretty awesome cameras film some pretty terrible things. And what I'm thinking about the guy that you were talking about earlier, Joey, it's maybe internally he's just never satisfied with what he's doing with the Ari, that he can't go from I'm experimenting and just keep shooting, little videos or whatever. He doesn't feel the confidence that he can take that $1 million camera. It's not like that, guys, and use it to make something like a film.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think it's just the idea, like just to cross that like little, like that 1 extra percent to finally make something that you could do, make it look cinematic. It just requires such a big amount of resources or money that it's ridiculous. Like, there's no point. I think before I had this idea, like, oh man, I need to own all of my own equipment. I want my cameras, my lights, and all that stuff. But if I'm making, feature film length stuff, it's like, and I need an Ari. Like, I would just probably rent a production house that could do that for me or whatever. But now, like, I think my mind changed. Like, I'll just shoot. If I'll shoot it with a phone because that's the best way for me to make a film right now, I'll do it. I'd rather do that than like work myself to the bone to try to
and focus on the lighting and the audio,
exactly.
And then because the lighting makes such a big difference with a phone. Like, if you might think, oh, well, I'm not going to have like studio lighting and all this stuff. Give it a shot. I was at my friend's studio shooting a few things that I had to shoot for some people, and he had the studio lights. He had the backdrop and everything like that, and I had a lav.
You're gonna hate this, but I will say something though.
Yeah.
If I think for like, if you want to do like lights, right, with like, and you want to practice on a phone, you should make a vertical cinema. It is so much easier to light.
Well, yeah, because you're only getting a crack, right?
Exactly, but you get to practice it. That's one way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, to bring up the quality of the phone footage, the lighting is also very, for the visual. So what I'm saying is, like, if you get the lighting, right? If you got good lighting and you have good audio and you have a phone, you could make a pretty awesome movie. And in case you doubt it, wait till you see the films at the film festival. So that's pretty cool. Wow, that was a good thing to ask, I guess, in the end. We went on.
That movie, by the way, I just looked it up. It's called Tape. So
Tape
is the name of it.
Tape is the name of the movie?
Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman.
Ethan Hawke is pretty awesome. Yeah. Oh, really? Her too?
Yeah, with
yeah, but they were together in that one movie, the
Gattaca.
one where he's paralyzed. Gattaca, right? Yeah,
Gattaca.
That was freaking awesome movie.
It's Jude Law's the paralyzed one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He was Okay, I got another question for you guys. Do you think, and I know Joey's going to start with this, but let's start with Ryan this time.
Okay.
But I'm very interested in what Joey has to say about this. So, is it realistic to grow a YouTube channel as a filmmaker? And the reason I'm asking that is because it takes so much work to be a filmmaker, right? And produce films, that on top of that, putting everything on your YouTube channel and growing that also takes a lot of work. Ryan, what do you think?
It's not realistic for me, but like, I know, I mean, as we know right now on this panel, there's another member who does it. So, but we a couple episodes ago, we were speaking with Levi even about just keeping up with like being like making Instagram posts to promote your film. And, I don't know how. I kind of get burned out. Sometimes it's like I could go. So if it was me making, I don't even know what the rotation is, a video every week, maybe.
I think it's almost every day when you have a YouTube.
Unless it's simply just me speaking to the camera.
Right.
But I wouldn't be able to make content like that and also have much else going on.
And when you edit these things, you have to do some pretty cool stuff like Joey does, the dropping the logos and the effects and all this cool entertaining stuff so they don't just walk away while you're talking, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm one of the weird people that actually really love editing. That's why.
Yeah.
Like,
you're not weird.
I know a lot
it's
of
fun.
people that like, oh my God, I hate editing. I just want to shoot. Like, I can't wait to get home and edit the shit that I shot.
Yeah.
That's like. So,
I always feel like
weird
editing's where the magic's at, actually, because especially if you have like two shots that you have like you're gonna whip pan into the next one or something like that. Then that's in the editing rooms where you see the magic of that shot like work out. But as far as like maintaining a full YouTube channel, it's not my best feature.
Because
altogether.
a lot of people are being advised to do that, feature filmmakers even. And that's kind of like whether it's shorts or features, but I think if you're making a lot of shorts and then you're having to maintain a channel is kind of hard. And I know that Joey, you're right there, but hold on. Because Joey does this, and so it's almost like two different cultures, right? There's the straight up filmmaker that just wants to make the films, and then like you do, Ryan, getting distribution, getting to festivals and things like that, and that in itself takes a lot of work. So if someone's telling you, well, forget about distribution, just grow your YouTube channel, that's a lot of work in itself. So Joey, I'm turning the mics on to you.
You can tell us how you do it.
Yeah.
It's actually not as bad if you think about it. Like it is. So I think now in the modern day, in the age of, everyone could be a filmmaker, really, right? With phones and everything. It's
you do have a team, which is you and your
and staff.
Powerful staff.
Yeah, that's the team. Yep. I mean, I know that sounds kind of silly, but
no, it doesn't. It actually, I think that. Well, I'll ask you that in a minute too. Like, if Stephanie wasn't there, right? Could you do this all on your own?
It wouldn't be as successful, but yeah, I would be doing this by myself until the day I die. I love
die.
This. Well, I love it too much, right? Because I think that's the thing too, right? Like the whole point of making a YouTube channel in the beginning was because I needed a place a place to just put my art, right? I wasn't really. I know I've always wanted to be a director, but I didn't even know how far directing I would go. And because I met people that are they share the vision, or they they believe in what I'm doing, and that's because being able to put stuff on YouTube, so no matter how stupid the stuff I was doing anyways, it was a place to show it, and that helped me gather a team. And it was stuff that you like doing, which it attracts the right people. Yeah. So in a way, it's a lot easier to have a YouTube channel. I think for anybody that wants to be a filmmaker, I think it's a good way to be able to show people a portfolio, and it's easy for them to see it. And they, it's because the thing that I say to people, when people say I want to work with you, I was like, look at my YouTube first, see if the quality is what you want to work with.
But you also are a filmmaker, which is why I think this is really, really, really cool, because you're doing both, right? You're a filmmaker. You're making films. You're not just creating quote unquote content for your YouTube channel, but you're doing that on top of it, and tutorials.
But that's the thing. I think it's because the tutorials and all of that, it's because of the process that I have, all the pre-production stuff, all of the, all the storyboarding scripts. We put that up on our, our Patreon. That's part of the tutorials. It shows. It just
what
shows
is
the
it?
process.
Patreon /
Art School Dropout, patreon.com/Art School Dropouts. And so after so many years, there's a lot of I guess research material for people to, if they want to see the process. So it's kind of we have a little cute saying. It's our tutorial is called do as though do, right? So but after so many years, all of the short films, all of the feature films, all of the web series, we it's documented with all of the production notes and everything. Yeah. So, people I guess, or aspiring filmmakers, they could see the process of how we do things. Cause it's obviously everyone, Hollywood has their own way or their own methods of making a film. And definitely the way that we do it is not, very union like at all. So,
right. I'll never forget when I first started this podcast and this guy comes on and I said, so how did you do this one thing? And he says, oh, I can't give away my secret. And he shot it with the phone. And I was like, what do you mean you can't give away your secret? What the heck?
What are you talking about?
He was talking like, it was like, I don't want to give away my secret.
Wait,
and it
I said that or someone else?
No, not
said that?
you. Somebody else
okay.
when I first started this whole podcast thing. And I thought, that's silly, because
that's silly. Yeah. How else will we progress our craft? Right. Like, you can't, people that gatekeep, it makes no sense. How, like,
that's
you
what
get
I
better
didn't
by
like about
challenging
it.
other people to get better than you. And then you're like, oh man, okay.
I'm like, well, people are going to find out. Like, don't think it's like some big industry secret or something. And again, it was shot with a phone. It was just a creative thing he did. And I knew what he did and I knew how he did it. I was just asking him so he could share it with our listeners.
That's silly.
I thought so
crazy,
too. But yeah, you're making films, you're showing people how to do it. And by doing that, you're giving them the confidence, right? Through educating them with that. And so you're doing all kinds of stuff. And it's just incredible. And I think if Joey can do, anybody can do it. However, not everybody has the stamina.
it's also that, right? I think it's the work ethic, I guess. But I really do love what I do. That's why it's not as taxing. It's just that, as I get older, it's like I can't do what I did like 10 years ago with the amount of work and, all these night shoots and night edits. It's like, oh my God,
all these.
So,
yeah.
But I really do, like, I am a big champion for I like to champion the idea for filmmakers to like, hey, I think you guys should try like YouTube, because then, it's a place for you to put stuff, but it also teaches you kind of like the business side of like being in the film industry, like you marketing your own stuff, you like actually studying, like the idea of A/B testing. It's not really the thing you should do for creative films, but it is some like a skill that it's good to know. Like, just I think that's the fun
you're
part,
watching, you're witnessing the person doing it. It's like those, the HBO specials, the making of, right, things. I used to love those so much because you get to see how people are doing things and it inspires you. Those things inspire you. And Joey, you're like a superhero. Hey, speaking of stamina,
we're segueing. This is
because it's a little segue, which is funny because somehow these things get stitched together. One of my other things that I wanted to share with everybody is how you celebrate your wins in order to feed your stamina and keep going. Because if you just go from one thing and another, which is, I'm guilty of that. I just go from one to the other and I'm always looking ahead, right? Like, what's the next thing? What's the next step? Get ready to do this next thing. And I'm constantly battling myself, like, just celebrate the fact that you just finished this thing so that you can give your energy, feed your energy, really, so that you can go on to the next thing sort of fresh.
I mean, I have a method, I guess. Well, I don't know how to explain this. I know, like, so like I said, I flew up this stunt actor from Atlanta to like work with us. And I know what, like, I have a laptop and basically like I kind of like rough edit something that we do on the first day just to get people, like raise morale. And that's something that I know gets people like, going for stamina. It gives them the energy.
So you basically put everything on a timeline and then play it back?
Yeah, like, well, no, I rough edit. I'm like, I'm very fast with stuff.
Okay.
But then again, everything is kind of pre-planned for me anyway. So it's like when I do my pre-production. So I have a very good idea of what I want.
Yeah.
And it's just to show them, right? So there is some sort of morale boost when they see like something that they could get, like, oh, okay, I understand now your vision. But at the same time, I know with me, I was asking him like, hey, does it seem egotistical that I really love the shit that I shoot? Because I would sit there and watch like, a minute of like roughly edited footage. I would watch that for hours.
Yeah.
While we're resting or whatever. if that makes any sense.
No, so one of the things in doing video production professionally for so many years for me, I remember a couple of people that we worked with, and the executive producer said, I don't want this person to edit if they're shooting. I don't want them to edit the project that they're shooting, because they knock everybody else's footage out. They fall in love with their own footage, and then the videos don't come out as good because they're like, oh, this doesn't fit, but I love the way this pan and this tilt. Oh, look at how well I did that. But one of the things that I learned was, as a media manager who I was also editing stuff. So as a media manager, I learned so much about grabbing what fits from 2,500, actually, I think there was more than that. I think it was like 3,000 something tapes, basically, because this was back in mini DV and I was digitizing everything. But I had to look through all those things, and I kind of knew what was there, and it didn't matter to me who shot it. I also shot stuff, but it didn't matter to me. And so now when I go out and I'm putting a little video together, I'll get stuff from wherever, which in a way is a little bit like documentary filmmaking. In documentary filmmaking, you're not shooting everything that ends up in the project. You're just trying to tell that story, and if it fits and it works, sometimes all you need are just a few seconds, or you need a little audio bite from this interview or whatever it is. And so for a lot of people like me, I think it becomes really easy to just say, all that matters is what fits and what works, and not let your ego thing. I doubt that you're doing egoistical thing, because like you were just saying, you've been doing this and you kind of have a little bit of a template in your vision, right? And I think if something fits or not, you're able to just sort of disregard it really quick. And that may seem to you like, oh, maybe I'm just picking mine. Well, no, obviously your shots work.
Well, it's also the whole, like loving the way that you cook, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do eat what I cook, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly,
I love it.
right?
Yeah.
So so it's just like when other people from outside your circle, they see you, and I edited, like, say, like I said, like a 1 minute rough cut of what we did that day or something, and I'm sitting there just watching it on loop for hours.
Yes.
It does seem kind of
no, it's awesome. You're just
right?
like, you're going, this was nothing until now it's something.
Until now it's something. Well, I mean, especially in the type of videos that you're shooting. With the action, if you're the editor as well, then you just know where the cut is, and you know where the camera, what shot's going to be next. And
right.
So, like with my last short film, I mean, there wasn't a room for a shot that that we might use. Everything was, I already storyboarded out, and I originally was going to have someone else edit it, but they had family coming in town. We had a deadline that we were on. So I ended up editing it, and it's actually probably just best that I did, because I knew where all the cuts were, and I knew what shot was next, and the whole thing, and I would have had to explain all that to someone else. And so so when you know what's next and as far as what's supposed to be on the timeline, you might as well just be the person who does it. But then, yeah, as far as like boosting morale, this is, you kind of need that fix, you need that hit, right? You need that bump to kind of like get you going. And I don't think it's egotistical if you're the one who cut it. I mean, who else is supposed to know what that's supposed to look like, And then there's times where,
right?
Well, we used to use editing scripts as well. So we would put the shots, like B-rolls and all these other things were labeled on the script. So they would just, and I would go the extra mile and put from this little time code here to this little time code. And there was like, some shots are like 6 seconds long. But not everybody will go that far, because this guy told me, oh my God, this is like the best editing script I ever got. It was just like boom, boom, according to my vision of what I wanted, because I wasn't the editor. I didn't have that choice.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
and that's when I started out. Yeah.
As an editor, though, like, I don't know, that would be so nice for like certain jobs. If people just gave me an editing script, Jesus.
He was really super happy. I mean, I gave it to him. I would get there before anybody, and I'd give him a box full of the tapes that were all labeled, And then I would give him that script. I would put it in the same box and I would say, here, I know you want this. It's right there. And he told me he loved it. And I was like, awesome. I guess I'll keep this job. Or maybe they'll keep me.
There we go. I'll keep this job.
So you celebrate your wins. I don't know how we went from there, but you celebrate your wins and you feed your stamina. How do you, because you said your way of doing that is by basically inspiring and keeping the momentum going with your crew, right?
Yeah. I mean, seeing my own work inspires me, and that's how I celebrate my wins, right? Like the everyday, just this little small things. I think today one of the stunt guys that I had, just like, apparently he does what do you call it, vaping tricks. I don't know what these kids are doing nowadays with their lives, but whatever, right? Like, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I just took like his phone and other people's phone. I was like, and I started filming it like a professional, whatever. Like, I'll try to make it as
professional
as
pans and tilts and moves, right?
And this kid loves it. This kid is like so excited. So I never had footage like this of my, of the shit that I do. I'm like, man, it's fun. What are these kids doing? I'm like, get cancer the old way, man. Just smoke it. Just smoke a cigar or something, But, and it shows though, like there are, I realize that, for some people, it's just being able to see what you do in a more featured way, whatever how simple it may be. It just gets you hyped. It makes you proud of yourself. And I think I kind of like that. That's why I also, I was a wedding videographer, and I still do that from time to time because I love actually doing weddings. It's that feeling.
I still trip. I know you mentioned that before, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, it has the reputation of being the most stressful type of videographer.
Is it? Yeah. I have never.
Because of the pressure I've had, even photographers, either photographers or videographers, because it's not something they can redo. And we're talking about people getting married. They're all stressed out anyways. They have high expectations. This is their once in a lifetime dream since they were kids, basically, especially.
Oh God, that's a horrible dream just to get married. That's the dream.
Oh yeah, a lot of little girls and stuff like that have a dream about what their wedding is going to be like. Their expectations are pretty high. There have been some pretty big lawsuits, from people suing people over what they expected. Their vision of how it would turn out. And then the videographer going, okay, but this isn't the Avengers. And and at the same time, Joey, I've watched wedding videos that are cinematic, especially more common today. It's incredible,
Yeah, exactly. I guess I understand what you're saying. But I just never had that problem. I love shooting weddings, and I think brides, they appreciate me. I'm a videographer that cries at a wedding, right? Because that shit's beautiful.
Okay,
and
so they love you.
And when wives, brides love me. They're like, yo, that videographer cares so much.
There's little Joey is crying while he's filming.
Yeah. That's the thing.
So
but it's the whole being able to see something that you do, no matter how mundane, is shown in an amazing light, just gets you just hype.
I mean, it's like life. It's like you're driving through the mountains or something, and you're just like, the privilege of getting to see this. You know what I mean? I mean, what if this was my last day, right? It's like, oh my God, this was my final scene, in the story of my life. How awesome is that? Anyways, let's here's the other thing that I wanted to bring up. How do we avoid burnout? And I think one of the ways is by moving with momentum instead of during the slow times. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is something I practice, especially after this film festival. We have the film festival, and then I have about a week of work to do while everybody's thinking I'm out on a vacation somewhere or sleeping for like a few days. And I think when something happens, something in my life that, you know, concerning business, it's like when something good happens, an opportunity comes along or something like that, I got to move with the momentum. And I equate that to sailing. You grab the wind and you let it take you. And that's, if you think of the wind that's pushing you along as your momentum, it's like, well, yeah, I'm going with the momentum. I'm not struggling to make this happen. Do you guys experience that? I'm sure you do, because I know, Joey, I know you and I were talking about this, but let me ask Ryan first. Ryan, again, sorry.
That's okay.
Share some instances of how that's happened to you and how you feel that's a smart way to travel.
Of burnout. I definitely to avoid it. I try, well, and kind of this would be answering also the last question. One of the ways that I keep motivated, especially when we're shooting, is I just try to be I like to be quick. And I've been on other sets where it can take like an hour or 2 hours to get just that shot going. And when it's really slow like that, and you just know that there's a lot more to do today, it's really discouraging. And so for me, it's like when we're just cooking into the next shot, and we're just moving. I don't really have a chance to sit down, and so I keep my wind going. But how I also avoid it, like when we shot my feature film, I'd already been on another project where we had shot. It was a web series. The people who were working with me on my feature film, we'd been on another production that was a web series, and we did like 14 weekends straight, I think.
Wow. That's a lot for you.
Yeah. And so when you're just doing that Saturday, Sunday, all day. And so I decided then when we went to go do the feature film, I was like, we're going to shoot, because, you know, we're shooting on the weekends because of people's availability and free time and things like that. And so I was like, we'll shoot either Saturday or Sunday, but we're not doing both. And then on top of that, I was like, I want to be done by like 6. So just always plan on, we're going to be done by 5 or 6. I don't want to be here till, I don't want us doing this until 10 o'clock at night. And then everybody has to drive home and wrap up and things like that. So I try to minimize those. Now, it doesn't work all the time. My last two short films are horror films that are set at night, and we shot them on the weekdays. So those ones we were going into like 1 a.m. But I felt like there were times when people are kind of giving that look like how much longer we're going to be. And I always feel like if I have the storyboards in front of them and I'm just as prepared as it can be, and I have the storyboards kind of like posted up on posters, so it's like that, you know where I'm at. I'm marking it as we go, and I can easily just go like, hey, like 2 more shots. I just need 2 more of these, and we're out of here.
You're like the football coach, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, we're right there. We can't come back tomorrow for various reasons, whichever they are. But I just that's how I try to keep people like kind of like motivated. But I get burned out if it's not my production that I'm leading, and it's taking forever for the next shot to come up, or if I know that we're just never going to get out of here, or like by the time I get home tonight, like it's like I want to be able to shoot, but then also like still have like plans later that evening. That's how I feel if we're shooting during the day. Like I might be able to like go home and still catch the movie or hang out with my kids or something. So
yeah,
right.
So I try to even if that, I just know when whatever we're doing, if it pushes me into 2 days, then I'll just have the budget for 2 days, because I don't want to do this until 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. So
Yeah.
And if we started earlier that day. Now, if we didn't start till 6 p.m., I'll be here till 2 a.m. But like,
yeah, but you plan for that.
Yeah. So
Joey?
Same. I think it's that, like, just being courteous to the people that help you in your work. It's like, you know,
yeah, it's important.
That helps a lot, right?
And feeding them. What was your thing?
And crafties for cheap.
Yes.
So yeah, like it's just to show that like you care. It, like, I think it goes a long way. Like, exactly. I agree with everything Ryan said. So.
Indie productions, one of the things I try to really not do as well is no pizza. Yeah. Like, it's try to.
No pizza.
Yeah. Just do whatever you can.
Or turkey. I worked on a set, and the last day was the day before Thanksgiving, and craft services brought like the turkey, and it was for lunch. It was before our final shoots, and we were like, "Are you crazy?" Oh my God, we were all like dying, and I was like, and then I had to drive back for like 3 hours too at night, and it was like hard. All that, what is that, tryptophan?
Tryptophan,
yeah, from the turkey. The thing about avoiding the burnout by moving with the momentum is something that happens unexpectedly for me. Sometimes it's like I didn't plan this thing to happen, but I'm going to go with that. And then if I go with that, then that means I get to take a little bit of a break because I got this far in this shorter amount of time than I do when it's slow times, when I'm just kind of dragging along getting things done. Even though I never really drag along myself, depending on the project. Because I think it's like you, Joey. It's like if you love what you're doing, you really don't burn out very easily. I mean, you are a human being. You have a physical body. You have a brain. And of course, you can totally burn out. But I think everybody has different levels of stamina and things like that, and energy. But I think that's one way to do it. And I think you guys brought up a couple of awesome ways to not burn out. And that is to think about the people. Because if you're thinking about others around you and not burning them out, then obviously you're a part of that team. You're not going to burn yourself out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that wraps up all the questions that I had and all the things that I had planned on talking, because I mean, there's a lot more, but our listeners might be ready to go with the flow and not burn out. Hey guys, I think we're done and this is beginning of March already. So I can't wait to meet you guys Joey, I can't wait to meet you and Stephanie in person. And Ryan, it's going to be awesome seeing you again.
Yeah.
This is like the second time you're coming, right? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there 2 years ago.
I feel like I've seen you like 7 times or something already. Yeah. I don't know why. Many moments. I'm counting the moments. Hey, listeners, go to our website. Go to internationalmobilefilmfestival.com, and there's a page there for Fade into Film. And there's also a page there called Social, and that's what we're putting the stuff that sometimes the algorithms on social media may not show you. So we try to keep everything updated. We'll put the latest podcast episode. We'll put the news like Joey and Stephanie that are going to be at the film festival. Did we talk about that, Joey?
Yes, we did. You mentioned that.
Yeah. So, and then there's, we're putting all the filmmakers there, and we're getting ready to put a program out listing every single film with all the details on it. And I can't wait to meet all these filmmakers and introduce everybody to everybody. I just love it. So thank you guys for coming on the show. I appreciate you so much. And thank you all for listening. Say goodbye to our listeners.
See you guys.
You'll see you guys later.